Have you ever had the feeling that someone was secretly envious or not being honest with you? How can you truly spot the signs of jealousy or deceit? In today's world, where genuine connections matter more than ever, it's essential to protect ourselves from those who may not have our best interests at heart. Today, we'll explore 10 powerful signs of jealousy and deception in others, drawing on the wisdom of Stoicism. When you learn these principles, you can build stronger, more authentic relationships and live a more peaceful life. In your opinion, what is the clearest sign of jealousy? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss. Please subscribe and click the bell to stay updated. Now, let's get started. 1. Words do not match actions. It's said that actions, more than words, reveal the true nature of a person. Think of someone's actions as the brushstrokes of a painting, illustrating their true character with every choice and decision they make. Epictetus once wisely observed, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This truth applies not just to our own lives, but also to how we understand others. When you watch someone act, whether in moments of stress or calm, their real intentions and values become clearer. It's in those subtle actions where deceit and envy often hide, waiting for a discerning eye to catch them. Consider this: a colleague who constantly praises your work but undermines you behind closed doors. His words might be sweet, but his actions betray him, much like a beautifully wrapped gift, hiding something rotten inside. These situations demand that we rely less on what people say and focus more on what they do. Stoicism reminds us that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and by being alert to others' behavior, we can prevent ourselves from falling into traps of false friendship or toxic alliances. In everyday life, actions speak volumes, more than words ever could. For instance, someone who claims to value honesty but frequently lies to others is showing their true face, even if their words paint a different picture. Gandhi once led an entire movement with peaceful actions that spoke far louder than speeches. It was through his persistence in non-violent protests that the world saw his commitment to justice. His actions were the proof, the substance behind his words. Similarly, in your life, watching how people treat others, especially those who can offer them no benefit, can reveal whether they act with integrity or self-interest. Understanding this principle helps you safeguard your inner peace. As Marcus Aurelius stated, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and by aligning your focus with others' actions, you learn to trust more in what's concrete, rather than being misled by superficial talk. This clarity protects you from deception and envy, making you stronger and more resilient. In the end, actions reflect the core of who we are. By sharpening your ability to observe these small, consistent behaviors in others, you not only protect yourself from falsehood, but build relationships rooted in trust and authenticity. The next time someone's words seem too good to be true, ask yourself, what do their actions reveal? That is where the real story lies. 2. Evaluate how they react to your success. Have you ever noticed how some people can't seem to celebrate your successes? I remember a time when I was promoted at work, excited to share the news with a close friend. Instead of a heartfelt congratulations, I got a dismissive, "Oh, that's cool, I guess." It was subtle, but the lack of genuine happiness was clear. You see, envy hides in the smallest of comments and body language. Recognizing how others react to your success is essential. Sometimes a cold response or an offhanded compliment isn't just indifference, but a sign of deeper envy. For instance, you might hear phrases like, "Well, anyone could have done that," or "I'm sure luck had a part in it." What they're really saying is they wish they had your success, and in their frustration, they try to downplay your achievements. It's almost like playing a game of chess. Some people aren't your opponents, but act as obstacles, blocking your path with subtle moves of resentment. Envy often manifests in small ways, such as false praise or avoidance. You might find that a colleague who used to chat with you during breaks starts giving you the cold shoulder after a big win. Their avoidance speaks volumes. It's like watching someone step back when you shine, unable to stand too close to the light of your success. Meanwhile, some may go the extra mile, showering you with exaggerated compliments, only to follow them with underhanded comments. They might say, "That's incredible, but don't you think you just got lucky?" This tactic makes you question your own worth and subtly shifts the focus from your hard work to an imagined stroke of luck. But here's the real takeaway. The envy and falsehood you observe in others have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their insecurities. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "We cannot control the actions of others, only our responses." Instead of letting their negativity chip away at your happiness, approach these situations with calmness and clarity. In fact, their envy is often rooted in their frustrations with themselves, not your success. It's as if they're looking into a mirror and don't like the reflection, so they lash out at those who seem to have what they lack. As you navigate through these tricky dynamics, remember to stay grounded in your achievements. Don't let someone else's insecurity or falsehood diminish your progress. Like a tree standing tall in a storm, let the winds of envy blow past you while you remain steadfast. What's crucial is to maintain your own peace and not be drawn into their emotional games. This doesn't mean cutting ties immediately with everyone who shows envy, but rather understanding where they're coming from and setting boundaries that protect your mental well-being. 3. Shows interest but doesn't really care. Have you ever had a friend who seemed overly interested in your life, asking, "How's work going?" But when you started sharing, they quickly shifted the focus to themselves, or worse, seemed secretly pleased if things weren't going well for you. It's something we've all faced, a friend who pretends to care, but their concern feels more like an attempt to monitor your progress, waiting for a stumble. Let me tell you about my friend Tom and his colleague Jack. Every Monday, Jack would ask Tom how his weekend went, how work was progressing, but something was off. Jack never listened. He would cut Tom off mid-sentence to boast about his own success or subtly probe into Tom's challenges at work. Over time, Tom began to notice the pattern. Jack wasn't asking to show interest. He was asking to measure how Tom was doing, hoping for a misstep that would make him feel better about his own situation. Jack was an embodiment of concealed envy, dressed up as casual conversation. This is a classic Stoic lesson, to recognize when people's concern isn't genuine. When their questions feel more like interrogations, designed to bring up your weaknesses or track your failures. False interest can be a sign of deeper envy, and it's crucial to recognize the signs before they take a toll on your peace of mind. One of the clearest indicators is when their focus shifts rapidly from your success to their problems. They might ask, but never listen. Their compliments feel hollow or insincere, and they forget the details you've shared, revealing that they were never really paying attention. Worse, they may even subtly celebrate your setbacks. The Stoic approach? Don't react emotionally. Recognize their envy for what it is, a reflection of their own dissatisfaction, and protect your peace by managing your expectations. Marcus Aurelius taught us to master our own reactions because we can't control others. So, the next time someone pretends to care but seems more interested in your struggles than your triumphs, remember that their envy is not your burden. Let their hidden insecurities slide off you like water, maintaining your focus on what truly matters, your growth, your peace, and the people who sincerely support you. The lesson here is simple. Not every smile hides good intentions, and that's okay. The goal is to guard your mind, manage your emotions, and let go of the need for everyone to be genuinely invested in your success. Instead, focus on recognizing who lifts you up and who pretends to, so that your energy is spent in relationships that nourish your well-being, not those that feed off it. At the end of the day, Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control the envy or deceit in others. What we can control is our response, our clarity of thought, and our focus on what is good, just, and true. 4. How to differentiate between sincere compliments and subtle flattery. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between a genuine compliment and flattery designed to manipulate. But learning to recognize the signs is crucial. Genuine praise is like a well-worn, comfortable pair of shoes. It fits perfectly, feels good, and you know it's built to last. On the other hand, flattery is more like a flashy, uncomfortable pair of shoes. Sure, they might make you feel great at first, but after a while, you realize they're not practical, and they're not built for the long haul. Let's think about it. When someone offers you a sincere compliment, they'll likely mention specific things about you, whether it's your work ethic, the way you solved a tough problem, or your ability to stay calm under pressure. There's depth to what they say, a clear recognition of your unique strengths. It feels real because it's grounded in truth. Flattery, however, tends to be shallow, exaggerated, and vague. Think about that coworker who's always showering you with praise, but never gives you anything concrete to hold on to. They'll say things like, "You're always so amazing," or "I don't know how we'd survive without you." While these comments may boost your ego momentarily, they often leave you questioning the sincerity behind them. If there's no specific recognition of what you've done or achieved, there's a good chance they're just trying to stay on your good side, for their own benefit. In the real world, many people will try to use flattery as a tool to manipulate, especially in competitive environments like the workplace. You might think they're on your side, but often, flattery is just a cover for ulterior motives. So, how can you tell the difference? Pay attention to the details. True praise will always reflect something real about you, something the person offering it has noticed and appreciates. Flattery, on the other hand, lacks that specificity and feels more like an attempt to curry favor. The lesson? Don't let flattery cloud your judgment. Stay grounded in who you are and trust your instincts. If a compliment feels too good to be true, it probably is. By staying aware and grounded in Stoic wisdom, you can protect yourself from false praise while also learning to appreciate the genuine recognition that comes your way. Remember, your value doesn't come from the applause of others, but from your own sense of purpose and integrity. 5. Identify the person spreading the rumor. In the course of our lives, we often come across people who seem friendly, even well-meaning, but somehow leave us feeling uneasy. Rumors and falsehoods spread like wildfire in both personal and professional circles, and they often stem from envy or a desire to manipulate. Consider a colleague at work who casually mentions, "I heard they're reconsidering the promotion," but there's something about the way they say it that stirs a knot in your stomach. That slight turn of phrase, seemingly innocent, may be their way of planting doubt in your mind, undermining your confidence. Just like a virus, rumors thrive on a lack of clear communication and transparency. Imagine your reputation is like a glass house, and rumors are stones thrown at it. Over time, small cracks can form, distorting the way others see you. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we cannot control what others say or think, only how we respond. This is where our inner strength comes in. To recognize those who spread falsehoods, pay close attention to subtle cues in their behavior. For example, they may often begin sentences with, "I heard," or "everyone's been talking about." These individuals rarely engage directly with facts, but thrive on speculation, using vague language to create doubt. Another red flag is when these people attempt to probe for information under the guise of concern. They might ask questions like, "So, how do you feel about what people are saying about you?" pushing you to disclose more than you should. By drawing comparisons to soldiers of ancient battles, we see that protecting our minds is like guarding a fortress. Just as soldiers wouldn't leave the gates unguarded, we shouldn't allow our thoughts to be invaded by rumors without filtering them through reason. When you hear gossip, practice the Stoic discipline of skepticism. Is it true? Does it concern you? And does it help your goals? Most of the time, you'll find that rumors, like the wind, are nothing but noise that passes. In life, it is crucial to focus on what's in your control, your reactions, your actions, and the choices you make in the face of envy and falsehoods. The best defense against those who spread rumors is to live with integrity and let your actions speak louder than their whispers. Truth, as Stoicism teaches, is the ultimate armor. Trust in your values, and the noise will eventually fade. We have gone through half the journey of finding a jealous person before moving on to the remaining 5 signs to detect a liar. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next videos. I'd love to hear from you too. Comment below with Stoicism if you're as passionate about these topics as I am, and let me know what topics you'd like to see in future videos. I read all the comments. 6. Avoid direct communication. One of the clearest signs that someone is being dishonest or hiding envy is their reluctance to maintain eye contact. This avoidance speaks louder than any words they could say. Eye contact is often referred to as the window to the soul because it reveals much of what's going on inside a person's mind. When someone avoids your gaze, whether by looking at the floor, shifting their eyes, or staring at anything but you, they are signaling discomfort. They are guarding themselves, likely because they feel guilt, fear, or insecurity. These are the emotions that accompany dishonesty and envy. Think of it like a poker game. The eyes are the tell. A player trying to hide a weak hand might avoid looking directly at their opponent because they know their body language could give away the truth. When people dodge direct eye contact, it's often because they are afraid of revealing too much. They may also try to shield their eyes with sunglasses or a cap, subconsciously distancing themselves. You might notice frequent blinking or squinting, small signs that they are trying to suppress the emotions they're feeling, whether it's shame from telling a lie or the bitterness of envy. This reluctance to engage with you visually mirrors the emotional wall they're putting up, hiding their true thoughts and intentions. We've all seen this play out in everyday situations. Perhaps you've had a conversation where a colleague who normally makes eye contact suddenly can't meet your gaze after you receive a promotion. Or maybe a friend, after hearing good news from you, diverts their eyes and responds flatly, signaling that they may not be as happy for you as they appear. The truth is that eyes reveal what words often hide. Stoicism teaches us to respond not with immediate judgment, but with calm observation. Notice these subtle cues and reflect on what they might indicate. Is this person struggling with their own envy, or are they trying to manipulate the situation? Whatever the reason, the lesson here is to trust your instincts when someone avoids your eyes. It's often a clue that something deeper is at play, something they are not willing to show. As you navigate your relationships, don't let dishonesty or hidden resentment catch you off guard. By paying attention to these subtle behaviors, you can protect your peace and maintain control over how you engage with others. In the end, what you choose to do with this knowledge, whether it's to confront the person or distance yourself, is up to you. But the first step is always to recognize the signs. 7. The answer is not clear. There was a time I asked a colleague about the progress on a joint project. Instead of getting a straightforward response, he began rambling about how busy he had been and unrelated issues happening within the company. His words sounded plausible on the surface, but deep down, I sensed he was deliberately avoiding the core of my question. This tactic, deflection, vagueness, wasn't just frustrating. It was a red flag. When someone fails to offer a clear answer, they're likely hiding something. In life, clear communication fosters trust and transparency. However, a person avoiding direct answers often signals dishonesty or discomfort. Stoicism teaches us to observe with clarity, not just the words, but the intent behind them. Imagine being at a crossroads where someone is guiding you, but only offering vague directions, just enough to seem helpful, but never truly leading you where you need to go. It's as if they are intentionally keeping you lost. In the same way, those who lie often resort to ambiguous or non-committal responses, relying on the vagueness to mask their true intentions. A wise Stoic would remind us to focus on what is within our control, our judgment and perception. When faced with unclear answers, we must train ourselves to recognize the signals, vague statements, repeated deflections, or even overly complicated explanations that go nowhere. In real life, I've found that spotting this sign early on, whether it's with a friend, colleague, or even a family member, can save you a lot of unnecessary trouble. It's not about calling them out aggressively, but rather observing their pattern and deciding how much trust and energy you want to invest in that relationship. Clarity in communication and intentions is a hallmark of genuine respect. Without it, you are left in a fog where nothing can grow except suspicion. The lesson here? When someone gives you a murky answer, don't dismiss that feeling in your gut. Stoic wisdom teaches us that we cannot control another's honesty, but we can control how we respond. Trust your instincts, seek clarity, and be willing to distance yourself from those who thrive in confusion. Your peace of mind and your integrity are worth far more than getting lost in someone else's web of lies. At the end of the day, you deserve straightforwardness and respect in your relationships. Learning to identify these subtle signs of deceit will not only protect your mental well-being, but also sharpen your own sense of clarity. And remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you encounter unclear answers, let it be a moment to practice discernment and self-control, turning potential deception into an opportunity for growth. 8. Inconsistent stories. Inconsistency in someone's story is like finding loose threads in an otherwise polished fabric. At first glance, things may seem fine, but when you pull at one of those threads, the whole story can unravel. It's not unusual to hear slight changes when someone tells a story over time, but when details start shifting dramatically, it's a red flag. Imagine someone who shares a story about their weekend. One day, they mention they were at the lake with friends, but the next time they talk about it, they were in the city attending a different event altogether. These discrepancies aren't just forgetfulness. They often point to a deeper issue: dishonesty. This type of inconsistency tends to appear when someone is trying to manipulate the situation, covering up the truth, or creating a false narrative. For example, in the workplace, a colleague may change their explanation about why a project was delayed. First, it was a technical issue. Then it was because another department didn't deliver on time. When a story doesn't hold together, it usually suggests the person is hiding something or attempting to avoid responsibility. Think about how often we encounter these inconsistencies in everyday life. You might notice it with a friend who keeps changing their story about their success, or a co-worker who can't seem to keep their version of events straight. Such behavior signals dishonesty or an attempt to control how others perceive them, often driven by envy or insecurity. In Stoic terms, this inconsistency represents a lack of integrity. Stoicism teaches us to live in accordance with truth and reason. When we encounter someone whose story doesn't align with reality, it disrupts our sense of trust. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to focus on what we can control, our response to such dishonesty. Recognizing these falsehoods allows us to distance ourselves emotionally and not be drawn into the chaos created by others. Ultimately, when a story doesn't add up, it's best to approach the situation with calm observation. Don't confront the person with hostility. Instead, take a step back, assess their motivations, and decide whether their inconsistency is something you can tolerate or whether it's time to reevaluate the relationship. After all, your peace of mind is worth far more than engaging in someone else's tangled web. By the end of the day, what you'll learn is that truth needs no constant adjustment, and a person's integrity is always consistent. By sharpening your ability to spot these inconsistencies, you protect yourself from falsehoods that could lead you astray. In recognizing these signs of envy and falsehood, remember the lesson Stoicism offers. You can't control others' actions, only your response. Keep your mind clear and act according to reason. Trust will flow naturally with consistency and truth, but dishonesty will always show its cracks. So, be wise, be observant, and most importantly, maintain your inner tranquility. 9. Observe how they disclose personal information. In our daily interactions, the way people share information can tell us much more about them than we might realize. Just like reading between the lines of a book, the subtle clues in how someone reveals or withholds personal details can be a window into their sincerity or deception. If you've ever felt uneasy about someone without knowing why, chances are your instincts are picking up on these hidden signals. Let's take a closer look at how this works. For instance, have you ever met someone who overshares within the first few minutes of conversation? They flood you with personal stories that seem a bit too intimate or exaggerated, as if they are trying to paint themselves as larger than life. It's like seeing a magician performing an overly flashy trick. Sometimes the spectacle is there to distract you from what's really going on. This excessive sharing can be a tactic to win your trust quickly, but it often raises a red flag. Why are they so eager to impress or get you on their side? In many cases, this kind of behavior points to someone trying to manipulate the narrative, weaving tales to make you see them in a certain light, one that might not be entirely truthful. On the other hand, there's the opposite problem, the person who shares too little. They avoid personal questions, change the subject when things get too close to home, or keep their answers vague. Imagine trying to have a conversation with someone behind a locked door. They're there, but you can't really see them. This type of guardedness can also be a warning sign. While some people are naturally private, consistent avoidance of even simple questions can indicate that they have something to hide. It's not that they are protecting their privacy, they're likely protecting a version of themselves they don't want you to uncover. So, why do people share information this way? It often comes down to intent. Those who overshare may be trying to manipulate you, whether for validation, attention, or control, by pulling you into their narrative before you have time to question it. Those who undershare may be guarding against revealing the truth because they fear judgment or exposure. And when the details just don't match, it's usually a sign that someone is trying to maintain a facade they can't fully commit to. Here's the important takeaway. Trust your instincts when it comes to how people present themselves. If someone's behavior feels off, there's likely a reason. You don't need to confront them directly, but you can protect yourself by creating emotional distance and being mindful of what you share in return. Just like the Stoics taught, maintain your peace of mind by controlling what's in your power, how you respond, what you believe, and who you let into your life. In the end, people reveal who they are in the way they communicate. By learning to recognize these signs, you arm yourself with the wisdom to navigate relationships more thoughtfully and maintain your own inner peace. The next time you sense something isn't right, remember, it's not your job to fix them. It's your job to protect your well-being. 10. Listen to your inner voice. When dealing with envy or deceit, the most critical tool you have is your inner voice, your intuition. Think of it as an internal radar, finely tuned over years of experience. It's that gut feeling when something just doesn't add up. For example, you're having a conversation with a colleague and everything seems normal, but you suddenly feel uneasy. Maybe their compliments sound forced, or they focus too much on your failures rather than your successes. These are subtle cues your intuition picks up, warning you that something isn't right. Like a sailor detecting a change in the wind, you should trust that shift and prepare to adjust your course. Imagine it like this. Your intuition is like an iceberg. What you can articulate and logically process is just the tip. Beneath the surface lies a vast amount of data your subconscious mind is constantly analyzing. Tone of voice, body language, subtle contradictions in behavior. When your gut tells you something's off, it's often because your brain has picked up on those details long before you've consciously processed them. Let's take it further with a real-world example. A friend seems overly interested in your recent promotion, but instead of celebrating with you, they start making backhanded comments or comparing your success to their struggles. On the surface, they're smiling, but beneath, something feels off. Your intuition is nudging you to recognize the jealousy hidden in their words. Pay attention to that feeling. It's your first signal to tread carefully. In such situations, Stoic philosophy teaches us to remain emotionally detached. Don't rush into confrontation, but don't ignore your instincts either. Reflect on what's been said, and if this behavior repeats, consider how it might affect your peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that we have the power to decide what thoughts and feelings we allow to disturb us. If envy and dishonesty are present, it's better to protect your tranquility by limiting your exposure to these negative influences. This isn't about becoming paranoid or overly defensive. It's about being mindful of who you allow into your mental and emotional space. A person's intentions, even if unspoken, will eventually reveal themselves through consistent patterns of behavior. Trust your internal compass to guide you away from those who do not respect your growth or happiness. At the end of the day, recognizing envy and deceit in others is not just about protecting yourself from harm. It's about cultivating relationships that contribute positively to your life. By listening to your intuition, you safeguard your peace and align your actions with wisdom. Remember, your inner voice has been shaped by years of experience. Don't ignore it. Your peace of mind is too valuable to compromise. In summary, when you sense something is wrong, pause and listen to that internal warning. It could be the most important signal guiding you toward healthier, more authentic connections. The Stoics taught us to value tranquility above all, and protecting that begins with trusting ourselves. We have just discovered together 10 ways to recognize envy and falsehood in other. If you recognize yourself in these things and have stories to share, leave a comment below Stoic Wisdom. If you find this video useful, don't forget to click like to let me know that what I said helped you with your life problems. That will motivate me to make more new videos. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on interesting topics.